Hi there. Today I want to show you another little tip that's related to the one that I showed you last time. It's again about drawing and using the idea of the three emperors that we talk about in the book of shape, tone, and color, but it's a slight variation on what we talked about in the last video. So we've got drawing classes that we hold here in the studio if you're in the western suburbs of Brisbane, and we also have some online classes. So the online classes are at the dojo at zenartart.com. So please feel free to visit there because there's a lot more information behind the scenes from what I'm showing you today. But let's have a look. I'll just switch the camera around and we'll have a look at what I'm talking about. So yesterday I talked about drawing the shape of whatever the object is that you're drawing. In this case it was a fresh lime that I had sitting on the tabletop in front of me. I did the shape 3 times, and then in the second one I did the shading. So instead of having the pencil vertical, I laid it down and did some light shading and then heavy shading wherever I see the extra darks, so this is getting the tone correct. And then in the final one I pulled out the coloured pencils and laid over the colour over the top of the graphite. So you can see the transparent pencil colour straight through the transparent pencil colour to the grey graphite underneath. So it gives a kind of a greyish shadow where the dark tones are, which is fine. So we've laid over some dark greens over the top of there to match the tonal plan that was underneath. And that's worked really well to show the end result there, and it looks like a really 3D object. So the other variation on this is rather than using graphite for your, it's kind of like an underpainting, but we're doing an underdrawing. So even if you don't end up doing an underdrawing in your final work, it's a really good idea to do a tonal plan on a separate sheet of paper. Whenever you do any painting or drawing, do a little tonal plan of what you see in the tones of the object. Tones meaning the darks and the lights, ignoring the colour. And if you have that tonal plan done, then your brain is sort of attuned to where the lights and the darks are on the object, because the lights and the darks, the tones, are more important than the colours. If you get the tones right, it really doesn't matter what colour you use. In this case, we kind of need to use green so that we show that it's a lime, but it really doesn't matter in many paintings what colour you use, so long as you get the tones right. So we understand the painting when we see the tones. So the variation on this one is I've got it down underneath on a second row on this visual diary page. So when you compare these two, what I've done is instead of picking up a grey graphite pencil, I've picked up a colour pencil that has got some darkness to it. And I've chosen the colour carefully to think about what colour might be okay to use as a dark underneath these dark colours in the final work. So the darkest, for me, the darkest part of a dark green is a dark blue. So I've picked up a dark blue pencil, and instead of using the grey pencil, I've put that aside and use the blue pencil to do exactly the same exercise where I get the shapes right, including the shadows. And there's special ways that I can show you of getting shapes right in the Learn to Draw class. And then on the second one, we've drawn this 3 times, which is great practice to get that repetition going. In the second one, we've shaded in using that same coloured pencil, which is it's still a tonal plan, but it's a colour that we've chosen. So it's tonal, but instead of being a grey colour, it's a blue colour. And then we do the same thing on this one. So we've got 2 of them that have got the tonal underdrawing. And then we do exactly the same step that we did on the last one of laying exactly the same colours over the top with nice layers, because you can mix colour pencils. I only had a set of 12. And so if you've only got a set of 12, you can mix colours, so long as you remember the rule of only laying down the colour lightly so that you can still see the grain of the paper. Then it gives you a chance to lay down a little bit heavier if you need to overlay over the top. So I don't know if you can notice the difference between this one. I think this one is a much nicer end result than having the grey underneath. So when you compare the two of them, I sort of feel like this one is sort of filled with light. It's a much more shimmery sort of shadow that I really enjoy looking at, rather than the dull of the grey of the pencil here. And that's the sort of a thing that it's sort of a theme of mine in my paintings. I tend not to use blacks or greys anywhere in my paintings. I try and choose a dark colour that would make sense for the painting or the drawing, and use that as my tonal underpainting or my underdrawing colour. And I think it gives a much more cheerful end result. And for me, painting art is all about bringing more joy into the world. So I much prefer to paint cheerful works than, I find that grey and black is kind of sad colours in paintings. So I try and avoid that. So that's two options of doing the same exercise. I've got a little tutorial session on that, so you can actually watch me doing the process and do it step by step so that you can follow along. And that's available on the dojo at zenandtheartofart.com. So if you would like to visit that and have a look at some of the options of what you can see and learn from, that's at the dojo at zenandtheartofart.com. So dojo.zenartart.com. And please help other people to see this video by liking, commenting and sharing below. I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching.